welcome to episode 95 of the Wilderness Podcast. I'm your host, Dilz, and with me is Deagin.
Hey, how's it going?
So this week, we will be talking about how Jagex is going to be going forward with the future of the old school RuneScape team. Rev Caves finally see some uniques get put on their drop tables, as well as the announcement of a new quest. That Skeevy Twitch Prime skin goes live. A new old school RuneScape Twitch channel. The topic of some of the past item tiers, or the way weapons and armor have been progressing since old school RuneScape came out. And finally, is RuneScape 4 going to be coming out in the future? But before we discuss all of that good stuff, Deagin, walk us through your week, will you?
Been pretty sick. Still got the sniffles.
Oh, you've been sick. Okay.
Oh yeah, I've been pretty sick for a little bit. Getting better though. RuneScape related. Let's see. I did one raid last night, I guess, with you guys. I've done
it was fun.
Some rune crafting, and that's about it. I'm all prepped to do Zara. I'm outside of Zara, all ready to go, but then it started to thunder and stuff really badly. And I didn't want my power to go out mid Zara kill, so I just got off.
Fair enough. Why have you been doing rune crafting? You got your level 82. What else is next besides 90?
I need to chip out. I need to chip away. Yeah, I need to chip away at 91 rune crafting. And I've been playing other games in general. So I've been playing WoW again. Retail. I've been playing that a decent amount. And then there's this new game called Oxygen Not Included.
First question. Early access?
Probably. Let me double check.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I see early access. I say, how can I pay?
Cash, credit, or debit?
Yeah, it's an early access game. If you've ever played Don't Starve, it's made by the same company. And their early access, how Don't Starve came to be, they did a really good job of pumping out really cool updates and DLC.
Okay.
And I like the company as a whole, and I like the game Don't Starve as a whole.
Have they done any other games besides Don't Starve?
This game that just came out. Originally, when they were doing it was a team of it was a really small indie company. I don't know how big they are now, but there was only a couple dudes that when Don't Starve first became a thing. And yeah, I don't know. If you like RimWorld, we've chatted about that. It's the same concept where it's a puzzly, micromanagey type game with the aesthetics of Don't Starve meets Fallout Shelter with the same camera angle.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's a section cut. You're it's not you're a bird's eye view. You're looking at it from the side angle, I guess.
Yeah, kind of like Sims Hotel. Do you remember that game?
Not at all.
Or Sims Apartment? Oh, it was an old
Tiny one. Towers or whatever.
Tiny Towers. That was
or Fallout Shelter.
2. Yeah, okay. Fallout Shelter. That
game's the whole thing is that you I don't know, you have guys that are inside of an asteroid and you have to survive, and it's you I don't know, it's really cool in terms of you have to micromanage the oxygen levels. There's CO2, there's natural gases, there's all these different types of gas you have to micromanage, and there's water polluted urine and stuff, the whole sanitary micromanaging and stuff. And all that, and you're in a restricted area, and it's super fun and addictive. Oh my, I'm in love with the game right now. I bought it earlier this week and I have 18 hours already.
Ooh.
I lost a whole day playing this game because it's so fun to sit down and be all right, I want to get an actual washroom with toilets and sinks. How do I do this? And then I fuck up something, and now I'm dumping piss in my drinking supplies and everyone gets sick and dies. And I'm oh, okay, I learned something.
Micromanaging games can be, if they're done well, they're a lot of fun. But at the same time, I always find there's something tedious about every micromanaging game. Fallout Shelter, I really enjoyed that game, but you get to a point where you have a bunch of people within your shelter, and you have to assign them jobs and whatnot. And next thing you know, you're going through a list of 70 people trying to figure out who's the best fit for this one room. Just things like that. It started getting tedious, and then, okay, who has weapons? I have to go through every person to see who's equipped with a gun. RimWorld, great game. I really enjoy it, but there are some things that I'm just like, I just kind of ignore when it comes to... So RimWorld, you have your colony, you have your little settlement where people can move around and do shit, but if you want to go hard and do really well in the game, there's strategy where you can set boundaries for certain people. So if somebody's sick, they can't leave the hospital, or your animals can't leave this certain area so they don't get killed by other animals. It can get kind of tedious where you always have to keep track of who's under what restrictions. Same with the drug policies in RimWorld. I don't fuck with that. It's too much.
True. When in doubt, you just treat them like robots and just give them name like farming leader or like farming 1, 2, 3, and you just like have the numbers and like who's the best at what. That's what I would do.
That's smart.
And I love the whole micromanage aspect, and like that's why I was doing runecrafting, because it's super fucking AFK if you're doing bloods.
Oh hell yeah!
Like I wasn't even using mouse keys to chisel. I was like that AFK. Like I would just click once and like go back to my game and look back 2 minutes later and watch my guy finish the last block.
I have done that as well.
Yeah. So it's yeah, not too bad. I need to start playing some more RS though. It's hard though because now I just started playing Metro 2033.
Holy shit. Is that a 4th game you just put under your belt this week?
Well, I've had Metro 2033 since the second one came out, which was Metro Last Light, which was like I bought them 2015. It's been 3 years. Like I have Metro Last Light, bought it 3 years ago, never even played it.
So that's a first person shooter, right?
Yeah,
but it's more story driven.
It's a very story driven FPS that's like super challenging.
Okay, what's this story about? I'm always interested on how these games kind of come up with their stories. Some of them are real. The concepts for some of these games are really good. Whether the game is good itself, another story.
So they're based on a book, the Metro's book series. If Audible would sponsor us, this would be prime real estate for them. just saying. Yeah, like the whole thing is that like it's based in Russia and you're like stuck underground, and then there's these like I'm not too far into it. I'm like 30 minutes into the game right now, into the first one.
Is this like a post-nuclear war?
Kind of. There's like these weird fucking creatures that like have driven people underground. And like everything is like super like slummy and like shitty. And it's really cool though, because there's like concepts of like ammo as currency.
Cool. Okay.
So it's really neat, and like the game it's really like cutthroat. Like it's super like, I mean, I'm playing on like some of the hardest difficulty just because why not?
Is it an RPG?
Like, not that I'm aware of. There's no art. I hope there's no RPG elements.
No leveling up or anything like that. No skills.
No. It's just like, you know, very straightforward like shooting game that's like got a really neat story so far. I don't know. I'm not too far into it, so I don't want to give my opinion. But so far, it seems like really interesting. Like, definitely intrigued. And I was actually just told for someone on CC that there's like a third one coming out next year. So maybe that'll get me excited for it.
All right.
Yeah. So far, cool game. I tried playing the first one when I was on Windows 7. I had these really weird audio bugs where like I'd hear like random like cuts in audio, and that hasn't happened yet. Like I only did like the first like tutorial thing, and it was so shitty and buggy that I just didn't play it. So heads up, if you're on like Windows 7, you might have that issue, but Windows 10 it's been good. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't want to talk too much about other games, especially if I haven't played RS that much this past month.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, anyways, I'm rambling too much. What'd you do this week?
Let's see. How did my week go? Well, non-RuneScape, but it's still video game related. That new big No Man's Sky update came out a couple days ago. Yeah. So I've been playing that game again. Started a new file because they fully revamped the game. It's fucking unreal how much work they put into that last update. But I'm having a ton of fun with that. If that's a game where you're kind of interested at the start, but on release, you were super unhappy with it, as most people were, because the game basically was released as an early access game. It should have been. But since then, there's been 2 or 3 big updates, plus this last one, which is bigger than every other update. The game really feels like it's what they promised. It's not exactly what they promised, but it's pretty damn close. But anyways, RuneScape stuff. I mentioned last week I had dabbled into the RuneScape 3 life. Very minimally. I have an Iron Man that I very rarely go on. Sometimes I'll do it just to see what's up. If I'm bored and I want to check out something, because the end game stuff, like the bossing and all that jazz, kind of, it really interests me. Some of it looks really cool, but, it's RuneScape 3, so there's a whole whack of issues there, plus you're having to restart the whole game. I'm not really making any progress, let's just say. I'm like level 22 or something.
Good old RS3.
But old school RuneScape related, I got 99 cooking on Monday. Yeah, I think it was Monday. I got it at work too, that's always nice, I guess.
Nice. Did you guys have like a little work-related party for it?
Yeah, I got yelled at afterwards, but it was a solid 5 minutes of people congratulating me until they asked me for an explanation of what we're celebrating.
Nice.
Yeah. So I've moved on to my next buyable skill that is pretty easy experience, something similar to cooking, where you can AFK it pretty well. It's great for work on mobile, and it'll turn a little bit of profit. So I've moved on to fletching. I've gone from 77 to 81 since then. Doing yew longbows. Probably not going to string them, but yeah, you still make profit off selling the yew longbows unstrung. I don't know who's buying that for more money than the yew logs, but I'm not really complaining.
Probably elkers. If you look at the high elk margins, they could be doing that. I personally strung them because I found using the bowstring, like you just got more value out of the logs and the bowstring.
You get a little bit more value, so let's see.
When I did it, it was worth my time. I was like, I did this like a long time ago though.
I plan to do, if I'm going to string it, it'll be at work, because since on mobile you're able to withdraw 14 at a time with just one click, I feel like it would be a lot easier than on your computer. But if I'm on my PC and I'm doing some fletching, let's say I'm playing RuneScape 3 on the side, or maybe I'm watching some Netflix or YouTube, or maybe I'm just, I don't know, shooting the shit in the clan chat or something. I don't really feel like doing anything too intense in the game. I'm just going to cut the logs because it's easy. It's a lot more AFK. And it's the same experience, so I got a Greater Demon Slayer task, and since I decided I'm going to start doing the bosses whenever I can, I have jumped in and done some Krill Tutsaroth. I think that's how you say the name. I don't really know, but been doing some of that boss. So I don't think we've actually touched on that boss of the God Wars bosses, so I'll quickly give a run through on what I do. It's the Zamorak boss, and as I said, it counts as a Greater Demon. So if you're soloing it, which is what I was mostly doing, there's a few times I'd go in with some other people, but I was always tanking. I bring just my Arc Light. If you don't have an Arc Light, you want to bring your Tentacle Whip or your Hasta. But the Arc Light is the best because it does the most damage. It's the best in slot versus demons. So I would bring that. I'd bring Carol's top and bottom, and then you just bring some tanky gear like a DFS. I was bringing Guardian Boots and a Torture Amulet. And yeah, you basically just go to the God Wars place. Luckily, the kill count's pretty easy to get. There's some implings that you can kill right outside the door. So you just get, I was wearing the Zamorak Blessing, so that counts as a Zamorak item, which means they won't attack me. And since you're near the Zamorak door, there's no other monsters around you except for the Zamorak creatures. So you just take out the imps. Takes like 5-10 minutes maybe. And then you go into the room and fight him once you get your 40 KC. So yeah, the fight's not too hard. The only problem is he hits like a truck. So you want to pray melee the whole time. And he'll do both magic and sometimes a melee attack. And then he has a special attack where he'll drain your prayer as well as hitting through your prayer. And he can hit like up to 60, I believe. So it's tough because you're also tanking 3 other minions. They're all doing, one's doing melee, other is range, and the other one's magic. And that's basically the fight. He poisons you, so you want to bring an anti-poison as well. Because that poison's going to do 16 damage to you when it ticks off. Yeah, there's the fight. It's pretty easy. He is one of the more tougher bosses in the God Wars dungeon, mainly because he can combo you out so hard with his special attack that hits through your prayer. He also has like the least risk versus reward factor, because compared to all the other God Wars bosses, his rewards are pretty shit.
I mean, the 1 in 126 Hasta is not too bad.
No, it's not bad. But when you compare it with like Bandos, like, yeah, it is good. That's his best item that you can get. And then it's like, what, the 4 mil staff of the dead, 4 to 6 mil. And then like 3 to 5 mil for the Zamrock God Sword.
Yeah.
So it's not the worst. But when you compare it to like Armadillo with like what? How much is that chest plate going for nowadays?
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably going, hopefully, for like 30, 40 mil.
43 mil, yeah, for the chest. 34 mil for the legs. And then you got the God Sword, which, what? 18 mil. That's always nice. Then you got Bandos, which has the Bandos with the God Sword being 11 mil. Chest plate being 17 mil. Tassets being 30 mil. And then you got the Saradomin boss, where the Sarah God Sword's, what, 40 mil? I think it's still 40 mil, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, 42 mil. Armadillo crossbows on that drop table as well, which is 30-something mil. So you can kind of see where Zamrock's drop table is sort of lacking, but still, it's not too bad. Anyway, still messing with that a little bit. And then the other day, I decided to go PKing. Hadn't been PKing in a while. I was kind of bored. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I was thinking I could do some krill, or I could, go out PKing. We had someone in the clan chat who's training his prayer at the altar right now, and he was bitching about getting PK'd a few times. So myself and a few other people in the clan chat decided to gear up and kind of go stand guard while he trained his prayer. I had a lot more fun than I expected doing that. And the beauty about the altar is, well, first things first, most of the good PKers, they're over at Rev Caves right now trying to PK all the people that are over there. So you get the odd people who aren't the most... You got people like me. They're not very skilled at PKing, so they come and try to get easy kills at people doing the altar. The second thing that I like about that is inside the altar building, it's multi-combat. Outside of it, though, it's single combat. So there's a few times where you go from a multi-fight down to a single fight. And it's fun to have that dynamic. A singles fight, in my opinion at least, maybe it's just because I'm bad, but I was enjoying that a lot more than an actual multi-fight. And I had a chance to kind of practice my switches and my quote-unquote tri-Bridding. And luckily, you're facing people who also aren't as skilled as some of the good PKers out there. So you're not getting just steamrolled. But yeah, that was fun. I spent a large portion of my Saturday doing that. And then afterwards, we went to Lav Dragons to go get some PVMers, see if we can actually make some money. Actually, somebody got a guy killing lava dragons who... He must have been skulled. No, maybe he wasn't skulled. He died, though, with his trident. Lost his trident. And a bunch of loot as well. Made over, like, 2 mil worth of loot on him.
Damn.
So that was pretty crazy. And then that's basically it. Saturday evening, brought a few people from the CC for their first raid. That's I don't know. That's a lot of fun. I enjoy. It's a different dynamic, I guess. It's not as serious of a raid, I should say, when you're bringing someone who's not really used to it. Yeah, you kind of show them the ropes, and then you joined us on the third run later that evening, which that was pretty fun. Even though I kind of stayed up later than I wanted to, but hey,
it's the way she goes.
Yeah, apparently. So that's pretty fun. If you're interested in raiding, doing Chambers of Xeric, you can check our Discord. Deagin posted a link or a picture in the PVM channel showing what gear is good to bring, or like what the most minimal gear you could bring into a raid.
Yeah, it's pinned, so you can check the pins. There's also some text to go along with it that was just relevant to like meta changes that happened after I posted the picture.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, take a look at that picture. Start cracking away at some of that gear. If your levels are decent enough, let us know, and we'll start tackling some of those raids because, yeah, it's pretty fun. And ideally, you get enough people running the raid. After a while, when everyone's comfortable, they've done it a bunch, basically once we're all professionals, we can start looking at Theater of Blood. You know, you got your own group together now. You have enough people doing it where you don't have to go seek randoms. Could work out. But anyways, I guess we should jump right into it. I'm pretty sure I hit all the good talking points that I did this week. I probably missed something, but fuck it. Let's see what we got going on in the news this week.
Yeah, so first up, we'll talk about the team structure improvements to old school. I don't know if you guys remember in the past, but like we went over some like employee company reviews, and like 90% of them were negative.
Yeah, you found a website that talked about, I guess people just reviewed their employment history with them. We got more news on that? Is that what you're saying?
Well, the biggest complaint was how the team structure was like super shitty, and like the way Jagex was being managed was very poorly done. So hopefully this is what they were addressing, but
I assume it was probably similar to how an indie company would do it, where you have like everyone working together, but there's no actual like teams.
I feel like
things.
Like they took the Valve approach. If you work at Valve as like a developer, you just work on whatever you want, which is why some games get way more updates than others, because the devs just want to work on a game. Like there's no like, you work on Team Fortress 2 updates. It's like everyone just kind of works on like CSGO and Dota, because they can do whatever.
I don't know if it's I assume it's not like this anymore, but back in the Portal days and, you know, the orange box with, Team Fortress, Half-Life, all those games, the rumor was that when you worked there, your desk had wheels on it, and you would just group up with other people if you wanted to work on a game together, push your desks together, work on it, finish it, spread apart, find another group, work on the next game.
Yeah, if you ever read there's an employee handbook that quote unquote got, like, I guess leaked with quotes. I don't know if it was leaked or Valve just put it out for like good PR, but they have like a handbook on like, so you decided to work here.
Mm-hmm.
And I only bring that up because it felt like that old school had the same mentality of like people are like, you know, mainly developers, or it's not like you have an artist who's learning how to like, you know, code some shit. But I feel like people kind of worked on like whatever, which is why certain things weren't coming out. And so this kind of addresses it. So, because I'll just start off with the post.
That way of doing it can work really well, but you have to have the right team. It's not going to work that way every single time. Sometimes there needs to be more structure.
Yeah.
It needs to be a little bit more corporate, right?
Yeah. So they say with the increasing players in number and the ever-expanding list of mods, you know, there needs to be some structure changes. So one of the most important things about old school is the community, of course, and they love the suggestions that we provide to them.
They love that we can do their work for them.
Yeah. So, yeah, they want to remain agile so they can quickly act upon those suggestions. So, it's no surprise that when we have a big project to work on, such as Theater of Blood, the resources we have available to look at your suggestions or quality of life improvements are limited, and it's very evident where it takes months to roll out a quality of life update.
Yeah.
Whilst they have found time to provide 59 poll questions for you to answer since Theater of Blood release, we are aware there is much more we could be doing. Keep in mind, in the past, they have had quality of life updates that get voted on and don't get implemented into the game.
Yeah, it seems like when they do try to put it into... This happened a few times, but when they would try to put it into the game, since the way their code, they have like spaghetti code, they found out it was just not going to work. Or engine work meme, right?
Yeah.
A good example was the hit splats. I believe they wanted to have it so you could differentiate your hit splats from your opponents. Was that it?
From your hit splats from other people's. So if you guys are all like attacking bandos.
Right.
200 experience drop. You don't have to like Rain Man the experience drop and like how much that actually means in terms of damage because 8 people hit the guy at the same time.
Yeah, it would be like the hit splat would be red, but it would be like a darker red or a brighter red.
Yeah.
For some reason, when they tried to put that into the game, the engine wouldn't let them.
Yeah. It was no bueno. Clippy from Microsoft Word came up and said, "Oh, I heard you're trying to do quality of life. That's going to require engine work."
Yeah. Would you like some assistance?
And Max Cash Stack drops.
Yeah.
Thanks, Clippy. So anyways, so to simply put it, the team now consists of smaller teams. So each team will have a clear focus, which will guide their efforts. So, you have people dedicated to quality of life. I'm assuming mobiles. I'm assuming big focus or team focused on big projects. And, maybe there's some people floating around helping out, but they have more of a structure, which is good because one, content gets focused on. Two, there's liability if something bad happens. People who messed up, and you're able to backtrack to okay, so what did you do? Instead of okay, we had 13 people kind of work on Theater of Blood or kind of work on Arty Nights, and now Max Cash glitch. I think that specific kind of forced them to hey, we need some accountability. We need some dedicated people that know how to work on this, and this. Maybe have the more senior devs work on things that are more finicky, that would kind of work more finicky with the game, game engine.
Yeah, this way, whoever's working on the Arty Nights game integrity change, and that bug happens, they don't go, "Who was working on it?" I think it was the new guy. What? Was nobody watching? He's only been here for 3 days. Why the fuck isn't he partnered up with someone?
Neat. It is really neat that they do this because, they can have the newer guys work on quality of life, or, things like having another option that you right-click up your teleport portal and it says Grand Exchange and Varrock. You have, the newer people kind of do, the shit work.
Or you stick a newer person in one of the teams. So you don't have, 4 new people just in the whole team. You have 1 new person in this team, 1 new person in this team. And this way, he can have 4 Sherpas.
You like that word, eh? You've been saying that a lot these past updates or these past episodes.
I want to get it trending.
You should just change your name to Sherpa. But yeah, so hopefully that means content such as Deadman mode, PvP bounty hunter. They'll have a team. Sorry, let me rephrase this. They have another team that'll be focused on PvP, Deadman, bounty hunter, last man standing.
Ooh,
that's
what?
weird.
Last man standing.
But they call it. They have a team focused on competitive gaming.
Separate team.
Yeah, that does this PvP stuff. They're the competitive gamer content developers, which is weird that I really don't like that phrasing because every fucking game wants to be an esport because there is so much money to be made in an esports. That's why every company tries to get into it.
It's the newest thing. I mentioned when I went to Montreal, they had esports bars where you would go there, and it's like a classic bar, but instead of playing hockey on the screens, on the TV screens, they had Overwatch tournaments, and that place was fucking packed. Oh
yeah, esports is super big, and I think I don't want to be hey, RuneScape esports. That sounds really fucking stupid. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
That sounds so dumb. But I think so. If they take the mentality of really popular games League of Legends or Overwatch, League is really bad for this, where it's actually bad for the esports team. But for what RuneScape can do, and I guess what these games do, is that you're able to watch Deadman mode, and you're I can do that right now. Okay, that's the whole thing of esports is that you see some guys do some crazy ass shit, right? You see some really good PKing or epic League of Legends alts or something. I don't know, and then you think hey, I can do that. If you're my friend from high school and you're bronze 4 and you say, hey, Deagin, I just watched League of Legends Worlds and I could probably do that, but better. Let's start a professional team. True story, by the way.
I mean, you can still technically start a professional team. Whether you get anywhere with it, that's another question.
I mean, you wouldn't be professional if you don't make money.
Okay. Amateur.
Semantics. True. But, the whole thing, I only bring that up because, with RuneScape, it's very, esports. Hey, I just won $30,000. It's
you gotta have a DDoS captain on the team too.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You got your clan leader, and then you got your DDoS captain.
That's true. That's true.
So there's a bit of strategy. You don't want to get a DDoS guy who's just gonna be, all right, we're gonna DDoS everyone, even ourselves.
See, the key,
even ourselves.
You gotta have the clan leader live in the same house as another clan leader, so when they go to DDoS, they're DDoSing each other. Like they're
Clan housing.
DDoSing themselves, I should say.
I'm waiting for RuneScape to get to a point where they have clan housing.
Dude, that shit would be so gross. Be like feces smeared on the wall, like rot painted and shit, like above, like on the wall. It'd be fucked. I guess they've been making enough money off of Deadman mode because I'm like we talked about. They probably put money into advertising. I mean, their advertising money it's put into Deadman mode. Let me rephrase it like that, where they do like the tournaments because it's obviously amazing advertisement. You know?
Oh, definitely.
I guess it's been like successful enough for them that they decide to have a team focus on it. Plus, there are some like big PvP issues, like Bounty Hunter and stuff like that, and Last Man Standing has 4 people playing it.
Oh, not even, because you need to have 24 people to start a game.
There's a community of 4 people, but things like Castle Wars and stuff, which I don't like how they didn't put that in there.
That's what I thought was amazing. Last Man Standing makes it into it. Castle Wars, oh yeah, I guess that's in the game too.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Castle Wars has huge potential if they like changed like made the map smaller, made it like a 5v5 type game mode or something.
Well, there is actually a YouTube channel, and they just focus on competitive Castle Wars games. There's a very small community of people that are, I guess, like max level, best gear, and they'll do like 2v2 battles or 3v3. And they have their own like tournaments that go on and whatnot. I'm pretty sure it's just for fun, but they have like a weekly or a monthly video that this person does. And if you watch it, you would watch that video and probably have the same thoughts as me. You'd be thinking, this has potential to be esports worthy. So you can see how there is potential into a lot of these. But I think a big problem is you don't want a meta to develop where it's every team's doing this and this. You want it, you know what I mean? Like, the good thing about League of Legends is there is a meta where, actually it's changed recently from what I'm aware of, but you'd have like a spellcaster or a bursty damage dealer in the middle, and then a bruiser top. Anyways, they have so many champions to pick from that even though you have that meta of positioning, there's so many champions that counter each other. This one's good for this one's good for that. And it changes with all the patches. So I think that's kind of the worry with some of these tournaments is you don't want
what League needs? I mean, not what League needs. You know what RuneScape needs? They need like Clans of the Ancients, Coda.
Yeah.
And then it's like a MOBA, but you're playing RuneScape. That's what they need. Straight
up, if old school RuneScape was released in 2010 instead of 2013, we would probably got something like that instead of Last Man Standing. It's a very trendy game. Whatever the trend's going, that they're jumping right onto that.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, they kind of came out with a battle royale before a lot of other things.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, Gears of War has a fucking battle royale now. Every goddamn game has a battle royale. But RuneScape was like one of they're like kind of early on in they're in the first wave of everything making BRs.
Yeah, exactly. RuneScape was able to come out with their battle royale and have it die before some of these other games came out with battle royale.
Yeah. We need like an FPS game mode called like RuneScape Global Offensive. I can't think of another thing.
Rune Shot.
That. RS Go or something.
Rune of Duty.
Nice. Rune of Duty, I like it. Where it's a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
They just need to copy every popular game and just see which one sticks. No, but in all seriousness, I'm kind of curious on like what if it's gonna be competitive.
I do like their previous approach to these kind of things where it seemed like it was less esports and more kind of events. Like they're just kind of fun events to watch on Twitch. With the Wilderness Wars, their PvP tournament, which was pretty good. I'm surprised we don't see more of that, but DDoS issues, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And then you had King of the Skill and Deadman mode. I feel like doing fun events like that is probably way better than having seasons of clan wars.
Yeah.
With like brackets and shit.
I brought this up before, so if you don't want to hear this again, just like skip 5 minutes or something and I'll be halfway through it. But like this would be perfect if they added fucking like clan citadels, very similar to Guild Wars 1. If you ever played Guild Wars 1, it could literally work the exact same, and you could even have it where like, maybe you hide players. I don't know. Like, you go with like 5v5, but each player is like a color. Maybe like they're somewhere to differentiate, and you can hide names so you can't just like DDoS someone if you know them. Like, oh, there's John. I have his IP. Let's DDoS him. But they could like, if they want to have like a competitive mix with like this community-based thing, I think this would be perfect to have leaderboards, which are just fun. And then every couple months, they bring the top teams to the leaderboards. Maybe not even clans, but like teams where, hey, we got some wild boys that, that shred. They go PK and stuff, but maybe you're in a clan, but you don't want to like leave your clan to mess around with the wild boys in this clan citadel PvP portal type thing. But you could just like sign up teams and you just have your teams like,
I have an idea. You could have this big event. It would only happen once in a while. You could have it so maybe random people get selected, or maybe actual teams and clans or streamers get assigned. But you use the whole Gielinor, maybe exclude Zaya, but you have teams assigned to different cities, and it's about like capturing other cities.
Sounds kind of like Darkscape.
Yeah?
Yeah, I didn't play too much Darkscape, but
that was just Deadman mode, wasn't it?
It was Deadman mode, but like more, I think like safe zone, like towns weren't 100% safe zones. Like clans were able to control towns to some degree.
Okay, so Albion Online has a similar thing like that. But it'd be cool to have teams of like Falador, you're assigned to Falador. This team's assigned to Catherby and Sears Village, Camelot, let's just say. And then you have Ardone, you got Varrock, did I say Varrock already? You got Lumbridge, Birthrope, and Taverley, maybe. I don't know. But maybe you could capture villages. You could capture like Draenor Village. And what is Draenor Village? It unlocks better armor. You get one tier better armor now. And you capture this area. And what does that unlock? Oh, you now have siege weapons. Maybe this is too much of a stretch. I gotta keep in mind that the engine sucks for this game.
Yeah, keep in mind that they accidentally had max cash drop.
Yeah. But that'd be sick. You'd have like a World War Gielinor.
So they've had something similar like that in RS3. Correct me, I'm probably messing this up. But they had world events. They had 3. I'm not pulling this out of my head. I'm looking at the wiki right now. But they had 3 world events. One was Battle of Lumbridge, which was you could side with Gothic Zamorak or Ceradomin, and you're able to like fight and gather like these resources and do all this shit. When I got back into RS, this was like 2013-ish, they had Bandos and Armadil, and you could assign either, you go to like whatever god, and you like help make buildings, and you like fight off people, and there's caravans. Like, it was really, really fun. I'm like a little noob. You look at my RS3 account, I have like 38 agility. I'm a little trash boy on that game. That shit was so fun. I had so much, I was like in full rune, you know what I mean? Running around just like, slapping people.
That does sound pretty sweet. It'd be cool to have something like that. It could come around once or twice a year. Anyone could sign up for it, but you could like stream it. It could go on for a whole day. And then that's it. It would end.
Weeks, months, a year.
The thing is, you can't have it go on permanently, and you can't have it go on for too long, because then people will get bored of it and they'll go back to, well, I don't want to XP waste. Sorry.
It's like, you're a drug dealer, okay? Hypothetical, you're a drug dealer. You're selling some crack or some heroin, and you give your first sample for free. So your boys come back and they want more. But you do that you let them play for one day, and then they crave it for months, and then,
Yeah. And then also a meta not as easily can develop, because that becomes not fun for the average player, the casual player. It's also why, if you ever play when they release the tournament worlds, these are new worlds where you go in, you can set your stats to whatever you want. There's a chest with every item in the game. Normally they have this come out when there's new items coming into the game, and you're able to test them out. But your raiding clan wars, they also allow you to go kill any of the bosses, not the Inferno though. And you can test some of this gear out, but what a lot of people do is they just get the best in slot gear. They go into the portal with some friends maybe, or just randoms, and you do 1v1 tribe-bidding fights, or you just try out different PvP techniques. But it's packed, and they only have it for a couple of days, and then they turn it off. And and a lot of people have asked them in the past to keep them permanent, but the reason why they're so packed is because they only release them for a couple days every now and then. So when you see them open, you're like, fuck it, let's go in and have some fun before they take it away. Whereas if it's always open, you're eventually not even going to give a shit about it. You're going to be like, fuck, whatever. I know it's there, but whatever.
Yeah. There's no urgency to do the content.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways.
Yeah, we'll move on. So thank you for, not skipping ahead. Or maybe you skipped at this exact moment and now it's really awkward.
Welcome back.
Yeah. So we'll move on. So pretty much this whole thing is like they just have more resources to do more things for us. Thank you, Jagex.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyways, so let's talk about some PvP changes because some of them are needed and some of them, unless they went back on them since I last checked, some of them are not the best. So we'll start off. So equipable banners. Okay, wait. Let me go back. This list is like the start of many changes and improvements that they intend to add to PvP. And before adding new content, they need to address these first, and these changes will not be pulled.
Ooh, this is almost an integrity change.
Yep. So equipable banners, such we'll refer to as flags. You see those guys spamming like a, free to play Edgeville. They hold those cool little banners.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're equipable, and players will often equip them in PvP or bounty hunter worlds to grief other players because the banners have a click box. So you can like really mess up people by messing around with them with this flag, make it so they can't hit their targets or something.
Yeah, what a pain in the ass.
Yeah, they'll be preventing banners being used in PvP and bounty hunter worlds. Okay. You'll be unable to equip these banners on these worlds. Any banner equipped will be removed when logging in on those worlds, where it'll either be placed in your inventory, your bank, Purdue, and if all of those are filled, it'll just drop on the floor.
I wonder if anyone ever had one of those for a clan war going on in the middle of the wilderness.
Maybe like a scout. I don't know. Maybe, probably not.
I'm just picturing an army of people with a guy in front with the flag being like, this is our clan colors.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I doubt it. Dude, customizable banners? Can we have that? Anyways.
Cool. Clan banners.
Yeah, dude. The old school engine has to deal with two players doing something at the same time. So what they do is they have a system called PID. And that will determine, so you don't Halo kill each other. You play Halo 3 and you both, shoot each other and beat each other down. And you guys die at the same time. Yes. PID prevents that. So one person gets priority over, damage or eating or whatever. Yeah, but PID is very important in PKing. If you watch, a lot of YouTubers, 9 times out of 10, the kills they get, they have PID. It's a huge advantage. Your stacks will come out properly and you can one tick properly. Like the way that your damage, comes out and when you have PID, is, instantaneous, as if you don't have PID. It'll be a bit of a delay. Best way to tell is you have a short bow and you and your boy are attacking each other with a short bow. One number will come up either just as soon as it hits or just before, and then the arrow will hit the person, disappear, and then the number comes up.
It's also a huge factor in stakes and staking.
Yeah.
Because one person will be getting their damage out faster. One hit faster.
Yeah, sometimes, generally if you're a big staker, you'll just give gap. You'll just wait a tick and then start attacking if you don't have PID. Seems to be the norm. I like to just put on a blindfold and click and just pray to God I get PID and I kill him. Mm-hmm. Anyways, so currently PID is randomized every 60 to 90 seconds. So 100 to 150 game ticks. 100 to 150. It'll randomize after that. But if you look at Deadman mode and stuff like that, the fights typically will go 3 or 5 minutes, and then the poison comes in, where you have a good chance, a decent chance of having PID throughout a whole fight, which is pretty nuts. Anyways, saying that with PvP and bounty hunter worlds, the fights rarely go over 2 minutes. You use spec telly. It's what I always see go down. So in order to make these fights fair, they want to change the PID to PvP and bounty hunter worlds so that once every 24 to 36 players or 40 to 60 game ticks, the PID will get randomized again.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah. The worlds 318 and 19 are dedicated bounty hunter worlds, and they rotate every 2 weeks. And when a player enters the wilderness on this world, the bounty hunter target system will track a player that is close to their combat level and will match them up as targets to fight. It is often the case that the system will assign someone that is deep wilderness and you're not deep wilderness.
Yep.
So you get like a lot of skips and you get a penalty and all that stuff, which sucks. So as part of the PvP Quality of Life month, they drastically reduced the penalty for skipping targets that are more than 5 away from you. This had a noticeable impact on the frustrations players were facing trying to get targets, but it doesn't really help them that much because they still have to skip a lot. So if you go to an emblem trader located in Edgeville, there'll be an option to toggle between being able to receive bounty hunters 1 to 10 only wilderness, so you can't get guys that are like 11 plus wilderness levels away from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I guess levels 1 to 10.
If you're doing PVM content, usually there's 3 types of worlds that are kind of good to go to if you want to avoid PKers. Sort of. These are high populated worlds because most PKers... Wait, is it high populated? What is it? World 2 has always been a good one for me because people don't tend to go there because they assume no one else will go there because it just seems like a bad choice of a world to go PVM in. The next is PvP worlds. They seem to be pretty safe because most PKers will assume not many PVMers are in a PvP world, so they won't really be looking for those worlds to look for someone killing Callisto. And the bounty hunter world as well, because most people are just killing people at their level. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you are, there is a teleport available that allows you to teleport right next to them. It's a little expensive. Yeah, I noticed that I didn't bump into too many PKers when I was running there. And I know when I've done PVM content, I was always surprised how less amount of PKers are actually there. I could be wrong. It could be just super anecdotal, but from my experience.
My go-to thing, if I'm solo PKing, I always go to Bounty Hunter Worlds, and I sit in singles, or I'll like go from Labadrags down to north of Venenatis, because there's a PJ timer in the Bounty Hunter Worlds.
Right.
I think it happened on stream where I got jumped by a team of 3, and this has happened like quite a bit, where like a team will jump me in multi, I'll tank to singles, and they don't know there's a PJ timer. And so I can just sit there and attack a dude and like heal off me, and then his buddy will stand next to me trying to like de-spear me into multi or some shit. And you're like, no,
Gotcha.
And then you fucking kill one of them in their team, and you're like, yo, I'm so good at this game. Look at this 3 ticks, like 2-way switch, boys. Check this out.
RuneScape professional.
It's super nice when that happens, though. And it happens more often than not, because people just like I'm confident to say that like the average PKer isn't super good. So if you go to like Bounty Hunter Worlds, like I didn't even know that was a thing until like I had dudes trying to de-spear me in a multi, and I'm in a Bounty Hunter World attacking their clanmate, and they're all going, "Why the fuck can't I hit you? He's been off you for 20 seconds." It's like, well, I have no idea, but I'm totally down for this. Do you have your player attack disabled? Is that hidden?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but thanks for the free kill. So I guess they want to make it so you don't get paired up with people, which I think is a good change. These 2 changes are very necessary. The looting bag, which is another change, and this one sounds really interesting, which I think it should have been a thing on release. Hindsight 2020, I guess. I never really thought of this. But they want to improve the way the looting bag functions and make it accessible for the use of all players. Because as of right now, you kind of have to like drop some shit to push it in the, you know what I mean? You have to fill up your inventory to fill up the bag, and it's like really annoying if you're a PKer. It's good for a PVMer, but not good for a PKer.
Generally.
So they want to give the looting bag an option to open or close the bag, so you can open the bag and it has a new interface, and you're able to like pick up stuff on the ground, and it'll directly go into the looting bag.
Oh, wow, that's really good. That's great if you're PKing and you get somebody and you don't get the best. You know, a lot of the time you'll kill someone, and the best loot is like a Niet's not helmet. Niet's not. Helm of Niet's not.
Nate is not.
Nate, it's not. Okay, whatever.
Like, nay, it is not?
Yeah, stupid words in this game. But that'll be like your best item, but you're leaving behind a bunch of, you know, super restores, a super combat potion, maybe some Xerix robes, but you don't want to pick them up because it's like, you got to sacrifice food for it maybe, and it's only worth like, you know, black D'hide body, what, a couple, like 5k?
Yep.
But if you have this looting bag, you get a couple kills, it's nice, it all adds up, right?
Yeah, it's good stuff. Makes it more useful, because I bitch about this all the time, but like, I'm not complaining right now, because when I say like, when PvP updates come out, they're actually PVM updates. They're just in like a no-fly zone, but you have to go to that, you have to fly in that zone, and you're just waiting to get gunned down.
Yeah, like the Revenant Caves. The PvPers aren't going, yo, fuck, I love killing Revenants. They want to kill people killing revenants.
Yeah, and the looting bag is nice. I can kill 14-ish more green dragons. Nice, dude. And then then you die, and then the PKer's like, I can't, this guy's got 40 fucking D'hide, or dragon bones. I'm gonna bury a couple and then leave.
Guess I'm dropping my whole inventory and looting this, yeah.
And I'm dead because someone froze me off my food pile.
Yeah.
Really, really nice change. I like that a lot. Exciting to see. The teleblock, which is widely used throughout the wilderness, it is a powerful spell that players should fear or be fearful of. I like how they have to let us know how it is. But anyways,
guys, it's not a buff. I mean, it's in the game for you not to want to get hit by it.
Yeah. The teleblock is abused by teams or solo players to prevent them from being teleblocked for the full duration. This is done by applying a teleblock to your character via an alt or friend and waiting for the duration to expire, granting you 1 minute of immunity against other players that have teleblocked you.
Oh, interesting.
Which I didn't know that was a thing. That is really, really smart, but fucking douchey as hell. So they'll be changing the way teleblock works so that the effect is completely removed when logging out. This includes a 1 minute immunity period as well. So that's pretty big. So this means that any player who gets teleblocked but is fortunate enough to have logged out will have the teleblock effect completely removed, including the 1 minute immunity period. So in that situation, it's generally accepted that they've escaped. If you were to get teleblocked but were unable to log out and had to survive for the full duration, once the effects of teleblock expires, you would have 1 minute immunity to be applied again. Because I guess PVMers aren't TBing themselves before they go to revs. It's like PKers are praying magic, getting an alt to TB a bunch of people or maybe themselves. And then it's like, okay, I have 10 seconds on my TB. We'll start world hopping. And they just world hop. Now they have a minute immunity and blah, 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 blah.
I could see it working both ways.
Well, right now, the way they've changed teleblock as if you've logged out, you've escaped from the team. And if you log back in, you should hopefully be able to tele out in time. If not, well, that's really unlucky. But also, you're getting outplayed, right? Maybe they followed you. They're like, he's probably going to 5 worlds up. Boom. Caught him.
Hey, he left his private chat on and
hit him with a full TB again. You're down skis.
Sure, yeah.
PVM deaths in PvP. So at the times, players will get a kill. Hey, we talked about this last episode. Players will get a kill in PvP and receive no loot. And this is the way the game determines who should have assigned the loot or receive the loot in a PvP situation. And at that moment, it didn't correctly identify the recipient. They've been aware of this issue for some time. And thanks to a YouTuber, they are now going to change it or really looking to changing it.
Yeah.
They're investigating the cause of this and potential fixes they could implement. And they're well aware of the recent video that Torvesta made.
Yep.
That must have been an awkward meeting.
Well, the cat's out of the bag now. I think they noticed that. And if they weren't aware of it before, now they were. But on the other hand, you have a bunch of people watching this video and they're going, I can do that?
People are probably abusing the fuck out of it. So they'll be looking to change it so that they'll give the loot whoever dealt the killing blow if no PKers is found by the existing system, the dying player had been hit by another player recently, and the death occurrence in the wilderness or PvP world, if they're in that area, yeah.
Kill.
So they'll be changing how loot is received. I could easily see it being you're clanning with your boys. I hit him for a 98. You hit him for a 1. You get an AGS and you tally out. I could see that happening. If they're just changing the way killing blows are affecting the loot.
Some random non-clan member comes and snags it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that'd be, I'm sure that's a lot more rare.
Yeah.
The lesser of two evils, somewhat.
Yep. This could also turn to things where fuck, I'm gonna die. Yo, can you kill me? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. If your teammate.
Yeah.
If it's two teams fighting each other.
Yeah, they probably are well aware of that, though, so they're going to figure that out. But yeah, so animation delays. Within the 5 years of Old School being out, players have mastered the game and figured out numerous little tricks to change the way you can play the game. So there are things like using animations of different actions to delay what other players are seeing your character doing. The pot trick, you don't know what that is. Let's see, when I'm going for an AGS spec, you will drink a potion as you're swapping to your weapon, and so you're drinking it, you hit him with an ice barrage or something, you're taking a sip of your super combat, and then boom, you hit him with an AGS, and then You got skunked on.
There's a Guthix tea that a lot of people use that for. Specifically, it gives you a little bit of health, but you get like 4 sips from it or something, and they use that just to hide their animation of switching to their spec weapon.
Yeah, and it works similar to like Karam Bond and stuff. Doesn't like give you tick delay. There's also things like the home teleport spell, which will change the animation or like hide the animation of certain special attacks and hits. So yeah, so they'll be changing. You'll be unable to use home teleport if you've been in combat recently, and they'll be changing home teleport so it no longer stalls movement. In addition to this, they'll be looking at ways to change the way dropping items work so it no longer interrupts animations either. Which sucks because it was really neat playing my Obby Mauler, and like when I was swapping to my Obby Maul doing the home teleport trick.
Yeah.
Because I'm hitting them with like, my RPG cannon, and then like all of a sudden my dude is like, when you like log in and your feet are together and your weapon is like coming straight out of you. You're holding like the two hand like the old way. Like that would happen with like your Obby Maul, and then they get like smacked really hard. That stuff was like really fun to do, but I can see it being an issue. And
yeah, you'd watch a video where someone was using the home teleport method, and you'd see them kill someone, and you're like, wow, that was really cool. But at the same time, that guy could do nothing except for safe, and then you get called a safing noob.
PK with that public off,
Yeah. Mute all.
Can't be a safer if you don't get called one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, special attack, stacking, and trading. So in single combat zones, players are kind of ragging people like in clans, or clans are ragging players by excessively specking someone, so you're able to like spec someone a bunch and then give them your spec, and they can keep like specking, and you can spec trade like that. There's also, sorry, let me rephrase that. Wait, maybe not. I don't know. But there's also, you spec someone and you off the target, and then someone else specs, and you can just sit there and, hey, he's barrage. Let's all just AGS spec him twice, and then, I mean, that's
just PJing, but there's no delay as you would in a bounty hunter world.
You just spec over and over again. It's really cheap.
Yeah.
And they want to change how special attacks work so that if you're attacked by a player using a special attack while in single combat, you cannot be hit by a special attack from a different player for 10 game ticks, 6 seconds. This change would mean that a player who attacks with the first special attack will freely be able to continue using special attacks against you. But if a different player attempts to special attack you, they'll be unable to do so until 6 seconds have passed.
Okay.
I guess we'll leave this one for last, because this is like the controversial one, but we'll move on for now. Spellcasting delays. If you've noticed, there's like weird things where like if you eat on certain ticks, and if you cast the wrong spell, you'll have like a delay. Like the eating, sometimes you get an additional tick delay, but with casting the spell, if you cast the wrong one, like maybe you don't have the level or the runes for it, there's a delay before you do your next one, which is super weird, and it doesn't make any sense, but they're trying to figure out how to fix this, so they're aware of it. Combating ragging and emblem farming, they have a whole host of PvP related tracking variables in the game to help gather data on this.
Okay.
Ragging's a pretty big issue in certain communities, and emblem farming is just an issue in general. The emblem farming like community or bots, whatever they are so like, they're so well done that they have like level 20 Iron Man 10 HP Obby Maulers. So if you go into rag them, you just literally get one shot by this Iron Man with an Obby Maul.
Wow.
Like they put in fucking work. They have like dudes protecting these. Like it's really, really interesting how they do this. I guess we'll talk about the last one because this is a little bit controversial. So the smite effect. So some weapons such as the BGS and the Ancient Mace have a smite effect which accompanies damage dealt with prayer drain. So it is possible for overhitting damage to inflict more prayer drain than the player's hit points. This shouldn't be possible since the player doesn't have high enough hit points to warrant losing so many prayer points. So they want to make it so you can't. Prayer reduction should never be more than the player's remaining HP.
Yep.
So what I think this means is that it just prevents clans from like skull tricking and then spam BGSing and smiting someone from full.
Yeah, that's what they want to prevent. They want to prevent teams from being able to see some guy with skulled with an armadillo god sword or something and saying, let's get that item 100%.
There are some people that are like really upset about it. I've seen some complaining.
It is a controversial. I can see both sides of it. That's the problem. I don't know how I feel about it.
So, like, one, I guess, okay, if you're in a clan and you guys do this consistently, shit, they make way more money than I ever expected. They're making 100 of mils a night and shit. Like, there's one guy in our Discord that will, like, post images of, like, loot from BGSing and shit at Rev Caves tonight, and it's, like, 100 mil or some shit. Like, it's crazy money, and it's like, dude, that's fucked. Like, what? Like, I would expect, oh yeah, we smited, we, like, BGS stacked, like, one AGS. But, yeah, some of the money you can make from it is, like, ridiculous. I know you're splitting it between, like, 20 players and stuff. So it's, not all one person. There is a lot of money being, like, kind of funneled to PKers by kind of, like, abusing a mechanic. And so PVMers don't really like it, but if you're getting skull tricked also, that really does suck. I'm trying to think, if you're like a solo PKer and you get caught in multi, and you get smited out with this trick, like, I mean, you shouldn't have been a multi. But the other side of it is, all the PKing content is like, in multi or right next to it. So you're kind of like cuckolded into like going into multi to do anything fun, if you're solo PKing.
On one hand, I can see how it's unfair for someone to lose their +1 item. Like, there's no counter to it. If you get teleblocked or you're in above 30 wilderness and a team comes in, you're going to lose that item, and there's basically nothing you can do because you won't be able to out-eat 20 people specking you. You won't be able to run away from 20 people, some bunch of people barraging you, whatever it is. So it's kind of unfair that you're going to lose your items and there's nothing you can do about it. On the other hand, should you be able, like, the wilderness, the mindset should always be whatever items you're bringing in, you have to be okay with losing.
Yep.
So does it make sense that somebody could bring a bunch of shitty gear, but also bring some D-claws because they know that they're able to keep that item if they don't get a kill? If they're going to die, they're not going to lose that item. And the rest of their items are shit. It's no money. Because with this new change, the only way you would get smited out now is if you kept eating and didn't drink a prayer potion.
Yep.
But if a team logs in and you're at full prayer, unless your prayer is a lot lower than your health, but if a team logs in, let's say you have 99 HP and 99 prayer, you could just go, all right, I'm not going to eat. I'm going to let them kill me, and they'll drain my prayer a little bit, but they can't take it all away.
If I'm getting jumped by, like, I've been jumped by teams, and it's like, there's no way I'm tanking this, I will just sit there and spam prayer pots. I'll lose 200k, have fun with my salads, eat healthy for once, buddy. If I were to get, thankfully I haven't been de-speared in, like, Ancient Maze or BGS'd before. I've had buddies that it happens and it sucks, but it's kind of part of the game. So, like, that's mainly with the clanning thing. And, like, I know that will affect clanning in general. Maybe it'll pressure clans to kind of go back to their roots and look for other clans to fight instead of, like, we'll just, like, you guys get these worlds, we'll get these worlds, and we'll just, like, clear PVMers and make bank. And then the way they phrase it, so they say they'll be changing it so prayer reduction should never be more than the player's remaining HP. Does that mean you're, like, this is gonna affect Bounty Hunter and PvP so much? Like, the way they phrase it makes it seem like if you're on, like, I don't know, 30 HP and I, AGS spec you, like, or like, if I'm like in a Bounty Hunter world, will I still be able to smite as many items as, like, I could before?
Probably not. It seems like it's a devastating change to skilled PKers, because it seems like the way this will work now is that the way you will be smiting someone is consistent damage, and they're eating a lot but not drinking their prayer potions, or they run out of prayer potions and they're still eating and deciding to still go on with the fight. So this is like a pretty negative change to all of the really skilled PKers. This includes people who clan. So that's where the controversy comes in, because it's going to hurt the profit they make.
Yeah, and I really don't want it to be a thing where Rev Caves is now, like, like, I don't know. Like, I do like the idea of, like, you're in Rev Caves and you have an Elder Maul. It's still super sketchy to bring that in, especially if you get skull tricked. Like, you know, you can be fucked. Like, it kind of gives you urgency to, like, play smart.
Mm-hmm.
Same with, like, a blowpipe and all that stuff. I don't really know exactly.
That's the problem, though. I can see both sides of it. I can see why, if you do this, it might hurt the high-end PvPers, like, a lot. It might prevent people from wanting to PK as much, because what's the point? You know, we're not going to make that much money. How much money can you make off black D hides? Which sucks.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose people in the high-end PvP community. That being said, they also want to bring in more casual PKers.
Yeah.
So now with this change, a more casual PKer will feel more comfortable bringing a whip instead of a dragon scimitar.
Yeah, I think the main thing is if I'm fighting someone and I see they have an AGS, I don't give a shit that they're in Mystics as well. It's like, nice, they have an AGS, I have a chance to smite that. If I'm going in for, like, my big spec to KO them, I'll quickly throw on smite when I do that. Like, yeah. It's risky, but, like, yeah, I might smite them out. But if they, like, change that so, like, it's not really a viable option, unless they're just not drinking prayer potions. Like, if they have their prayer just, like, more than their HP at all times, you know, will that deter me from wanting to fight them? And will that make me want to just go camp Chaos Altar and kill people bearing bones? But, yeah, anyways, we should...
Well, before we move on, it seems like they need to bring an alternative if they're going to do this change. You know, maybe bring that. Remember that amulet that would help you smite, but it didn't pass the Rev Caves the first time around.
Yeah,
I feel like that would be perfect to have into the game if they're making this change.
Yeah,
or maybe having, I don't know, a new prayer that's like Ultra Smite. Maybe it drains your prayer for as much damage as you do, but it also does the same prayer drain to them. So this way you're like smiting yourself and them at the same time.
Everyone's always on 0 prayer. Always.
Yeah.
And I spec to 70, and I'm smited, and avenged, and I'm dead.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems maybe they're opening a door to bring in some items to make up for this one.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that shit ain't gonna pass.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to bring in items that are gonna allow other people to take their items easier.
Yeah, no, it's weird. Yeah. I wonder how these will be taken by the community. But yeah, anyways, there are 4 poll questions. So, should we add an in-game collection log? This would be an in-game interface that keeps track of how many of each uniques you've obtained. Cool. Question 2. Should Bob Barter be able to decant potions into 1, 2, and 3? I think so.
Yeah, that's good. I remember a suggestion on the subreddit, and I think we talked about this back when the Rev Caves was coming around the first time. This person suggested basically like a PvP room in your house, and this is where that obelisk would go that would teleport you to the wilderness, and there would be an amulet or something on the wall you could use to skull yourself, so you didn't have to go to the Edgefield to get a skull. But they also had the suggestion of a decanting station where you could go into your own house and use that table or whatever to decant your potions for you. I really like that suggestion. I almost prefer that over having it from this dude.
The next question, though, is should the crop yield of white berries, cave nightshade, and limpworts and poison ivy be increased to a random quantity based on your farming level, similar to how allotments work? Regardless of the results of this poll, we'll look into the rebalance of the drop table of certain monsters that drop limpworts.
Bring back that free-to-play moneymaker.
Ruin it, actually. Make them cheaper. Bring more into the game.
Well, if they're going to revisit some monsters that drop limp roots, right?
Yeah.
You won't be getting hundreds from killing those Kurasks, I think. But yeah, seems good to me. They made that change recently with the cactus spines.
Yep.
So you get double the amount now if you're a higher farming.
Yep. Should it be possible to reobtain all pieces of the ghostly robes from any ghost after completion of the Curse of the Empty Lords mini quest? Ghosts will simply allow you to claim more than one ghostly robe set.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a pain in the ass having to go find your ghosts in the wilderness if you lose your ghostly robes.
Yeah.
I don't even have them on my main because fuck it, what a pain in the ass.
Yep. Yeah, I dropped mine cleaning my bank, instantly regretted it, was like, fuck it.
Yep.
But yeah, anyways, on to more PvP related stuff. The Revenant Cave rewards that have just come out.
That is right.
So, the ones that have come out that got passed were the crossbow, the Thameron Scepter, the Vigorous Chainmace, the Amulet of Avarice, and nothing else. Just those 4. But
Yep,
we'll talk
right.
about them in detail. So, starting off with the bow, the crossbow, stupidest fucking name ever, god damn it.
Yeah, who came up with that? I don't know.
It's a tradable 2-handed bow that can deal additional damage to the wilderness NPCs. It has the same stats as a magic short bow imbued and requires 60 range to equipped. When charged with a minimum of 1000 ether, an additional 50% range accuracy and damage boost is activated versus any wilderness NPC. This effect will stack with the Slayer Helm or the Salve Amulet, but does not allow both effects to stack. This includes imbued versions of each as well. The bow does not use any ammo, like a crystal bow. Instead, it uses the Revenant Ether stored within it. 1 Revenant Ether is used per hit, even if it misses. Any Revenant Ether stored within the bow is always dropped on death when inside the wilderness. Ooh.
Yeah, that's a little pricey. I'm curious, because it says it deals additional damage to wilderness NPCs although when charged with a minimum of 1000 Revenant Ether, an additional 50% accuracy and damage is activated.
Yeah.
So does that mean you put in 1000 Revenant Ether, you only get that 50% damage boost for one shot, and then when it drops below?
I believe so. It's to force a risk if you're going to bring it in.
Yep.
I saw this was selling for like 400 mil. It's probably cheaper by the time you're hearing this, but apparently it is really, really strong, and it looks super nice. It matches like perfectly with Arma.
Yeah, it does look really cool.
The next one is the Thameron Scepter. It's a tradable one-handed magic weapon that can deal additional damage to wilderness NPCs. 60 magic, same as a Master's Wand, requires a minimum of 1000 ether. You gain an additional 100% magic accuracy and 25% magic damage boost versus any wilderness NPC. This effect will stack with the Slayer Helm, all that stuff, same thing as the bow.
Yep.
It looks pretty cool. It looks pretty Zamorakian.
Yep.
I haven't really heard anything about this.
It seems like it's very strong. I don't know what monsters you're going to want to cast spells against besides maybe Scorpia. I know people use the Trident against the Crazed Archaeologist, and then Lava Dragons is another one. But you're risking a lot more with this staff than you would with the bow, because you lose not only the ether, you lose the runes as well.
Yeah, so I don't really know how that's going to sit, but I guess we'll see in the future. And then the next one is the Vigorous Chainmace. So it's a tradable one-handed flail that can deal additional damage to wilderness NPCs. Same stats as Dragon Scimitar, 60 attack, 1000 ether, you get 50% accuracy, 50% melee damage boost versus any wilderness NPC. Stacks, same as everything. I saw a video of a guy hitting 60s on a Zerker super consistently with this against Vedian.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it seems pretty good.
This thing shreds. Like, people were like two-shotting the dogs and stuff. Those skeleton dogs. Like, it's really good, and it's really accurate against things that are weak to crush.
Yeah, although it seems like for Callisto, you're still going to want to go with Verax.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Such high defense.
You want that special effect to pierce the armor.
Yeah, exactly. So it looks... The mace, I think, looks the worst out of the three. It kind of looks like a pepper.
It looks like, what's that Pokemon? Kind of like Shroomish. Is it Shroomish? Shroomish? Yeah, it looks like Shroomish on like a string or like a on a chain.
What gen is this?
Whatever Sapphire is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it does kind of look like a Shroomish. I look at it and I just see a pepper. A pepper on a stem with a long stem.
Yeah, it looks really dumb, but can't win them all.
Whatever. Nope.
Don't know what the price is sitting at. Haven't really heard anything much. I just know it's really, really good against Fedian. The Amulet of Avarice. Within the Revenant Caves, there are a plethora of NPCs, many of which are killed frequently for the Wilderness Slayer tasks. It's no secret that a lot of wilderness activities are a trade-off between risk versus reward. Blah, 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 blah. You know how that goes. That meme.
Oh, yeah.
So the Avarice is as good as a Glory, and with the added ability of causing all drops within the Rev Caves to be noted when worn. This includes the non-Revenant NPCs in the caves, so like the dragons and whatnot. The downside of this is you'll be skulled when you wear it, and removing it, you have a 20-minute skull.
Interesting.
Really, really cool. I want to actually go test this out. Amulet of Avarice, but it's so expensive right now, it's not worth it.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? The also looks like a Pokemon, the necklace.
Which one?
Bellsprout?
True, yeah, I see that, the head.
Is that the right one?
Yeah.
It's Gen 1. Yeah, Bellsprout.
Big thanks to the Reddit user, the Vault Hunter, for pretty much making the amulet for them. Thanks for saving them some time.
Nice.
You'll be getting a snapback, or an old school RuneScape snapback, and some goodies. So pretty much in like a year from now, we're gonna get like a top front page post being like, "Yo, Jagex, where's my hat?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The Twitch Prime is in effect. There is 1 free month of membership if you have a Twitch Prime thingy. It's kind of a bitch to redeem on you have to go on Twitch, claim it, you have to link your Twitch RuneScape account, and you have to log into your RuneScape account on the website, and then go in game, and you're set. So with old school, you get the free month, obviously, and then you get the purple skin. On old school, you get these 2 chests called the Umbral Packs. People have gotten 200 mil out of it because that is a possibility. So, hey, free bonds. You might, if you have Twitch Prime, you might as well use it. I don't know if you've done it, Dilz, but I went ahead and did it.
I haven't done it yet. Might do it on if I want to continue with my RuneScape 3 Iron Man. I might put it on there because I don't want to pay any more bonds for it, or I might put on my Pure because I canceled that because $11.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you'll have until September 6th to do this, so
ooh,
yeah, you got a lot of time. My Umbral pack, I got a fuck ton of experience. Got like 10 levels in rune crafting. And then I got the chaotic crossbow.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't know. I can't trade it. I don't think. I don't know. I got it. Was like, didn't get 200 mil, and I just logged off.
Interesting.
And I guess more importantly, so we have a little bit more to talk about. We have a new quest being put in the works. So it's called Making Friends with My Arm. So they've been teasing just which large project they've been working on, and this is the next quest. If it passes a poll, which it'd be funny if it didn't.
Yeah.
It'd be really funny.
Some
but
spite votes. But they did, this is something they brought up like not last Runefest, but the Runefest before that. They wanted to bring out a new troll quest and start working on that area.
Yep.
So this better be a good one for 2 hours worth of 2 years worth of work.
Yeah, this is some stuff that kind of worries me though. So they want to have some rewards that involve fire making to light minerals, which are like mined after the quest, in pre-designated fire pits around the world, with the fires providing various benefits. They're like, what are your thoughts on that? And I really hate it when they word shit like this, because it's like, what are the benefits? Like, am I gonna get like a better drop rate on monsters now? Do I like heal? Do I regen HP? Do I regen prayer? Do I have more, do I run energy regen faster? Like, what do I get from like doing this shit? And is it permanent? How long does it last? Like, is it like a diary thing where it's kind of a pain to do, but once you get it done, it's super OP? Like,
if you get a buff, is it a timed buff, or is it when you're in the vicinity of that new bonfire? Is that what they called it? Bonfire?
They said they were very careful on not saying the word bonfire. They said pre-designated fire pits, which aren't bonfires because that's an RS3.
Right. Yeah. You gotta be careful. Unrelated, but somewhat related. Me dabbling with RS3 and kind of looking around on it. There's so many things that old school RuneScape just pulled from that game.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like Augury and Rigor are the exact same in RuneScape 3.
Tebow. The whole Tebow concept was like everything was like it's taken from RS3.
Yeah, they just changed the name a bit, but some of it isn't even name changed. Even the Ivanus Flail. So that from that new quest for Theater of Blood.
But yeah, so that is pretty much it for the updates.
Yeah, like you said with the bonfire pre-designated fire pits, it could be really cool, or it could be. I don't know. I get worried. It's either going to be. I always feel like it's going to be way too strong, or it's going to be completely useless and no one's ever going to use it.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm assuming this is what Jagex is thinking of. Have you ever done divination?
Very little.
All right. Well, divination is a skill in RuneScape, and you like go to these pre-designated pits. Kind of, you go to these areas and you just like do some shit. You capture some shit. There's like a divination, whatever. Like you kind of go to these designated areas and you just like train. It's pretty AFK from what I remember. I did it on release, and I don't really remember too much of it. But the main thing is that you use your divination resources to make like. You go to like Grand Exchange and you could like drop a thing of coal and people would mine it and like you would get noted coal every time someone mined it.
Yeah, okay.
Like random shit. But like, I wonder if these pre-designated pits would be a way to incorporate boosted money from skilling. Like let's say you go to the woodcutting guild, you light a pit, now you get like, you know, a chance to get a noted log, or like you cut faster, or you get more experience, or, you know, whatever. Like I wonder if that's what they're like leaning towards. Or if it's like a buff where like now you can't get poisoned at Kraken, or not Kraken, at Zara. Can't get venomed. Like, I don't know.
I'd be okay with getting extra resources from some of those skills, like woodcutting and maybe mining and fishing. Maybe boost the money per hour up a little bit. Everyone complains about how little money skilling is versus PVM. I think I'd be okay with something like that. An EXP boost? Agility? Fucking right. If I can jog on the spot next to a pre-designated fire pit and get like 60k an hour, best update that this game could ever have.
How about like you just click it and you just, what agility level would you like? And you're like 99. It's like, congratulations. Oh, here's all the marks of grace you would have got anyways.
That's good.
Yeah,
you better
perfect.
send that into Jagex. Fuck.
Yeah, I want my snapback.
Don't take those stickers off though.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm interested. It'll give a little bit more use to fire making. Right now, fire making, it should be called Winter Todd.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that, yeah. Yeah, I'm interested to see what's up. I hear they want to complete the troll area, fill in some more of that black space.
Yeah, that'll be nice. I welcome that.
Now, before we move on, they do say that they have kind of a minute clip of Mod Ash talking about the development progress, or how do they say it? Listen to Mod Ash himself to hear how this quest came to fruition. So I'll play that real quick.
Hello. So, 2016 Runefest, I pitched an idea for a sequel to My Arm's Big Adventure, and this had arisen partly from a player suggestion about how we could fill in the blank space that's just west of Gorok in the icy area up there. We pitched a colony of trolls living there, slightly smarter than the usual kind of troll, which ain't saying much. And I designed a quest where they'd be trying to form links with the troll stronghold trolls, and they would get, of all things, my arm, the troll, sent to them as an ambassador. Of course, my arm is not a very smart troll, as you may remember from that previous quest. My arm is quite useless. And,
Oh, cut pretty abruptly. But anyways, so a little look into the thoughts of the quest. Although I feel like questing now, I feel like, has made such huge leaps on how well the storytelling has been since with Dragon Slayer 2 that I'm kind of hoping this is on par with maybe not as epic of a story, but well written. No more of these like kind of silly childish jokes. Some of the other quests you'll do them and you're like, I didn't need to read any of this. The whole quest was built up for one stupid joke that wasn't funny.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's I don't know. I would like for some of the questing to have a more serious tone. A lot of quests take a more serious tone, but I don't know. I feel like they have a good chance to continue with the lore being kind of an intense and have some darker sides of it. Anyways, yeah. New quest. Cool.
Yeah. Pretty excited. I wonder, like, they keep setting the bar higher and higher. I wonder if, like, they're going to push it again with this quest, or if it'll be a good quest, but not like, Dragon Slayer 2 good or something.
Just like a filler quest.
Yeah.
I do hope they make it. They try to aim towards a Dragon Slayer level of telling the story. Again, it doesn't have to be as epic as Dragon Slayer 2 was, but RuneScape in general, both games, have some of the most unique questing system when it comes to MMORPGs, where it's an actual story. It's not go here, kill this. It's
there are like, I guess there are fetch quests, like one small favor, but like, yeah, most MMOs have like, you turn your brain off, you put on like a podcast or like a YouTube or something or Spotify, I don't know, you put on music and you just like, nice, just did 18 quests here, I'm gonna move on to the next zone.
Yeah, it's basically how you level, whereas questing in this, you're playing through an actual storyline.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. I do like new quests, even though sometimes I kind of just spacebar right through it, but since Dragon Slayer 2, it's made me actually care more about the lore that's actually going on with it, because that quest was so well written and the cutscenes were pretty good. The everything involved was just, yeah, like you said, they stepped the game up with that one.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it for the news, but not it for, I guess, talking points. All right, so things that kind of might be interesting to talk about within the community. First things first, on the website twitch.tv, if you're unfamiliar, it's a website you can go to and watch people playing different games. One of them is RuneScape. Well, now two of them is RuneScape. Beforehand, both RuneScape 3 and Old School RuneScape basically shared the same gaming channel. So you go in and you look at the list of games that people are playing. You had RuneScape, had a picture of this guy, I believe his name was the Raptor or something like that. A RuneScape 3 character. If you're an old school RuneScape player, you basically have no fucking clue who that is. Well, since their last Q&A, a lot of people have been moving over to a brand new gaming channel that is just strictly old school RuneScape. And it has the classic skeleton in that knight as the picture. The Q&A was streamed on that gaming channel, and a bunch of streamers followed. So, it's just a little bit of a change. I don't really know why they would open up their new gaming channel, because it's not like streamers started doing this first. Before, it was always around. It was just dead. You'd have like 60 viewers in it. Everyone was just in the RuneScape channel. But it wasn't until the Jagex Q&A for Old School RuneScape came over to this channel that all the streamers followed. So it's interesting to see that the people who set that trend was Jagex themselves. You'd think they'd want to pair all RuneScapes together to boost their viewers on the amount of people watching each different game tiers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not entirely sure why they did it. Maybe they just want to differentiate a bit. I could understand if you're a RuneScape 3 player and you want to watch somebody streaming RuneScape 3. Could be annoying to go onto to the gaming channel and have to kind of weed through hundreds of old school RuneScape channels just to find that one RuneScape 3 stream.
Yeah. I know, like, Jagex made their own Twitch channel and all that stuff, and I guess they're just trying to separate the games because, old school shouldn't really be paired with RS3. When they made the Twitch category split, they did it like a month or so, like a little while ago. And I don't know how it is now, but like I would stream under it, and there'd be like me and 2 other people streaming in that category. And you know what I mean?
Since then, all the top streamers moved over to that new channel.
Nice.
So it has, it's basically got the old numbers that the last one had, which means RuneScape 3 shot down low into the
hundreds
in the list. Well, yeah, they shot down low into like the list of viewer counts for different games.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. Maybe Jagex as a whole is starting to realize that they might need to start focusing on old school RuneScape more than RuneScape 3. They talked about, what Deagin brought up with the separating into smaller teams within the old school team itself. Maybe this brings in more opportunities to snipe a developer from RuneScape 3. That might worry some people because, MTX, but there's a whole team for just microtransactions on RuneScape 3. And as we talked about last episode, a lot of quality developers that do some of the PVMing content on RuneScape 3, and they have nothing to do with the microtransactions and probably don't like it. This might give them a chance to step away from that side and join old school RuneScape when they have a team of 4 people doing PVM content. They might be able to walk over at lunchtime and being like, any room for one more? Anyways, speaking of old school RuneScape, splitting from RuneScape 3 on Twitch, a while back, there was a bit of I was going to say announcement, but no, it wasn't really an announcement. It was an accidental leak to some information on possibly a new MMO being designed by Jagex. So this is going back a whole year ago, and I do remember seeing this actual clip, but at the time, I think I just thought it was something to do with RuneScape 3. Because I don't remember us actually talking about it. Anyways, I'd seen something this week about a new MMO Jagex was looking to create. I started looking around. I went back to some articles from 2017 and started reading about it. And, just with everything going on lately, I guess it seems more appropriate to bring it up. So in the past, probably well aware of it, but Jagex has tried time and time again to come out with a new golden egg, is that the word I'm looking for? Golden goose?
Something that isn't a complete flop?
Yeah. Jagex has tried multiple times to come out with the newest RuneScape, as in RuneScape made them a lot of money. It made it from 2 brothers making the game to a whole company with hundreds of employees. So they've tried with FunOrb, which was a website where you could play various games that they created, like Arcanist Online. There's a bunch of other games. I'm not going to go through them all again. I don't want to pull up the list. Anyways, it didn't end up making them money at all. Arcanist Online was pretty fun for when it came out. I remember playing it, but eventually it was just costing them too much money. I also remember hearing or reading that some of the head people in head office were really pushing developers to come out with these brand new games like every week for FunOrb. And it just caused a lot of games to be a big flop. They didn't have time to actually work and make quality games. And then also they had, before RuneScape 3 was a thing, Jagex was developing a new MMO. It was supposed to be a futuristic MMO. And for the longest time, it went by the name as Mechscape. And eventually, the actual name for the game came out, which was going to be Stellar Dawn. And everyone kind of assumed, and from what people were led on to believe, was it was going to be the idea of RuneScape somewhat, but in the future. And it was more going to be based on like choosing different classes. Maybe you could be a mechanic or an engineer. Maybe you could be a pilot for something. Maybe you could be like a soldier. I don't know. Not too much information came out. Although in 2009, they had come out and said that they had to cancel the game prior to its release. And it ended up costing the company tens of millions of pounds. Tens of millions of dollars. Or billions of Canadian dollars. Anyways, it brings us to a year and a couple months ago, where Mod Shawnee was streaming something. I'm not entirely sure what, but he accidentally streamed what looked like a new game. This game was labeled as next gen. It looked like a fantasy medieval game similar to RuneScape and RuneScape 3. The interface looked pretty similar to RuneScape 3 as well, but the graphics in itself looked a bit more intense. Is that a good word to use?
I don't know. Maybe. We'll use that for now.
Yeah, a bit more intense, more hardcore looking. I don't know. So here's the video of that actual leak from back in May in 2017. You don't see a whole lot. You only see it for a couple seconds, but you can hear the reaction of the Jmods as they realized they accidentally was showing the video on a live stream, or they were actually showing the game on a live stream. So you're not missing too much. It's basically all just a black screen after they show the first couple seconds of that new game, and then you can hear the reaction. It's all audio, so you're not missing anything from the actual video, but here it is.
And I'll see you on Monday, and I hope to see the screenshots of some of the stuff that you do in-game. Take care, and have a good one. Bye. Oh, wait. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Why was that a preset?
Oh my god.
Oh.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Ooh.
I'm about to lose my job. I'm about to lose my job. I'm about to lose my job.
Nah, man. That...
You think he lost his job?
Oh shit, I'm about to lose my job. Oh shit.
Ooh.
Oh shit. Oh shit. I'm about to lose my job.
Don't panic. That nothing's going to come of that.
That's ridiculous. All right, so there's a majority of the clip there. A lot of dead air. I felt probably wasn't good to play all of it. But it's basically just what you just heard on repeat. And as you can tell, there was a pretty big reaction from accidentally streaming it. So, I guess the question is Jagex developing RuneScape 4? The game was labeled as next gen. The graphics looked a lot more, I guess, realistic when it as in compared to RuneScape 3, and especially old school RuneScape. What do you think?
I'm kind of worried. I don't know, like, if this is like they're gonna like abandon RS3 for this game. I feel like RS3's player base is at its lowest point ever, and
Yep.
I feel like they're hoping that they all migrate to this new game or to old school, which makes me think that I see free to play MMO, and you're like, okay, there's microtransactions, obviously, but how bad are they gonna do it with this one?
It's hard to say.
I am not excited really for it. I'm like, oh, for fuck, like, I'll play it day one, I'll play it, but I really won't put in time. I know what's gonna happen to it.
It's really hard to say. So, as you mentioned, and this was something I was going to bring up afterwards, but we'll just talk about it now. RuneScape 3 this week, or I guess last week, hit the new lowest player average since November 2017. So the average for that week in November 12th, 2017. The week ending of November 12th, 2017 had an average of 21,997 players. Last week, the average was 21,528 players. So they've hit a new record low. So with this, if the new MMO is coming out, I see there's two things. It can either be one, riddled with microtransactions, and just hoping it's just this new thing people come into. And if they have microtransactions from the beginning, you can't really complain. They've always been there. They're part of the game. The big reason people complain about RuneScape 3 is because for the longest time, it never had microtransactions. And now you look at it, it's flooded. So it can either be like that, or maybe there's so many people actually spending money on microtransactions in RuneScape 3 that they're worried if they take it out, they might actually get some of those whales quitting the game. That's a possibility too. I've never really considered, right?
Yeah.
So they have a lot of people leaving the game because of microtransactions, but they might have gone too deep with it where they can't really remove all of it without pissing other people off. So maybe this new game is a kind of a fresh start for them. That's the other side I could see. Is them being like, okay, we'll do RuneScape 4, which is going to have RuneScape 3, like the everything that RuneScape we all love about RuneScape 3 will be in that RuneScape 4. I'm just going to call it RuneScape 4, but they have it labeled as next gen. And we can leave out the microtransactions, and hopefully all the people who are leaving RuneScape 3, instead of going to old school RuneScape, and that game might not be able to hold them because maybe the grind's too intense, maybe the graphics aren't good enough, maybe it's too, some of the stuff is too tedious to do. So maybe they have RuneScape 4 where they can, instead of going to RuneScape, old school RuneScape, these RuneScape 3 quitters can move on to the next game.
Yeah, I don't know. If next gen is like a completely separate MMO from like the Gielinor universe, if they're completely separating it, I don't really know. Like, I feel like everything fails because they try, like Chronicles of RuneScape or whatever, Chronicle RuneScape Legends, whatever, was like the last one to kind of fail. And I feel like they kind of just like would tag on RuneScape as like a drawing point. You know what I mean? Like that was the gimmick, was like, hey, it's like a RuneScape related game.
But by doing that, it's a double-edged sword. You're going to have RuneScape fans coming to try it out, but RuneScape itself is kind of it's got a stigma to it, right?
Well, like, I'm not like talking about like the social aspects. Like usually at the game, like they try to make like a RuneScape-esque, Hearthstone-esque game, but like it didn't work. They try to shoehorn like a art style or like maybe not so much of an art style, but like, the whole RuneScape brand in places where it really shouldn't be, like snapbacks.
My point was that, my point was that as many people who are checking out this RuneScape card game, because it's RuneScape, there's just as many, if not more, people who are refusing to try the game out at all because it has the label RuneScape. And they're like, I'm not fucking play that game 10 years ago and the game sucks.
Yeah, but my main point is that like they use RuneScape as a crutch to try and boost their other games that just aren't good.
Right.
I don't know about that whole mech game. I never played it. Funorb
they never came out with anything. It just died before they could actually bring it out.
Oh, okay, yeah. Funorb was fun. It had the same. It was pretty pay to win though. Like you bought that membership shit on Funorb, and like when you played Arcanist, like you would like you'd stomp people who didn't have it easy. But yeah, typically everything seems to fail. They don't. I mean, I guess evidently RuneScape 3 is failing. So I'm not really too sure. I'm assuming as the game dies out, they're going to start, putting mods on the old school team and onto this next game, which next gen is a horrible fucking title. If that's an MMO.
No, that was probably their placeholder name.
Yeah.
If you remember, Blizzard had this, not a leak, but a little bit of an announcement for this new FPS MMORPG, and it was called Titan Project.
Yep.
And years later, Titan Project never comes out, but what does come out is Overwatch, which is what Titan Project turned into.
Yep. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with this new project. Regardless, I mean, if it does come out at some point and I'm like aware of it, I'll obviously give it a try, but I'm not like gonna wait for it. I'm not excited for it. In fact, I'm kind of like, this is why they're bleeding RS3 dry. They probably just think they'll all like try this new game out. And then, like, 2 months in, once the player base starts to dwindle off, Squeal of Fortune comes out.
I feel like it's going to be either really great or really bad.
Yeah, I feel like I don't really know what kind of model are they going to be bringing, because they don't have much experience with, like, the typical traditional MMO model, which is, fetch and kill quests, and, you pick up 30 quests, complete them in 10 minutes, and turn them all in.
Yeah, that's why I think it has the possibility of being really great, where they've really got something great with RuneScape. If they took some of the best aspects of it and they made that like the foundation for this new game, you keep the questing system similar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, the main thing that makes RuneScape really good is that it has like 30, 40 different grinds, and they're all very different most of them are very different from each other. But if you look at RS3, they've all turned into the same type of AFK, where you look at like last time I checked, there's probably better methods and more AFK methods, but bonfires for fire making, vines for wood cutting. I don't know, there's probably other shit like that, but they turn like everything into like an AFK type, like it's similar types of grinds, and like that's kind of like what makes old school so nice is that the grinds are very different. If you compare like, I guess like fishing and wood cutting are similar, but like you compare fishing to thieving or like fletching to mining, like they're all very different.
Yeah, generally, like,
I mean, on average, the grinds are just different, and that's what makes the game kind of fun. You get bored of one grind, you just go to the next. And so if they keep that kind of a mindset where they make a lot of really interesting grinds, that like, you know, I mean, grinds in itself aren't really like interesting, but even like different or like refreshing with like how you interact with like the game itself. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep my eye out more. We'll have to see in the future. Keep your eyes out. They could really have something good, or they could have, who knows, maybe they're not taking the best things of RuneScape, and maybe they're going to look at World of Warcraft even more and take the things that people love about that game and try to do a Jagex version of it.
In all honesty, though, if I had to guess, I think it's just like RuneScape 4. Like literally like a RuneScape 4.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to be making a whole new MMO. They've been burnt so many times on that. If I had to guess, it would just be RuneScape like 4.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, and the last thing that I wanted to mention was I saw a interesting topic get brought up on the subreddit by Lord Gozerd 2. He made a post and it got pretty popular, got sent to the front page, and it was talking about with all the new weapons old school RuneScape has got since 2013, and the tier that they're all sitting at. And it has something we've been touched on briefly before, but this just kind of puts everything into perspective a little bit. So we've talked about power creep a bunch, and how people are very worried about power creep. If you're wondering what power creep is, it's that as the game progresses, stronger and stronger items come out, and eventually, if you do it too fast, the reason people are worried, because if you do it too fast, we could be at level 99 gear, you're going to need 99 attack to wield this new weapon, and how hard is it going to hit versus the tier 95 that just came out a couple months ago, let's just say. RuneScape 3 got into that problem, which is why they had to revamp everything. Everything from the way health worked, where instead of having 99 health, you now had like 9,000 health, all the way to the EOC, where they had to change the whole combat system because they got kind of cornered with the way they were progressing their gear. And eventually, at tier 80, people were going to be hitting, or like tier 85, people would be hitting like 90s. And that could be very problematic for things like PvPing. So, old school RuneScape seems like they've been trying to be a bit more strategic in the way they release their tiers. And you've probably noticed a certain trend, but we're all capped out at level 75. Level 75 is the highest requirement you'll need to equip any gear. Things like the Arclight, all the God Swords, Abyssal Tentacle, the Elder Maul, the Garazi Rapier, Scythe of Vitur, Din's Bulwark. That's just a list of some of the melee weapons. And as you may know, some of those are stronger than the other ones. Yet they're still in the same tier as tier 75. And it gets like a lot more apparent when you look at something like the Dragon Fire Shield versus one of the the Elysian Spirit Shield. Or another example is the Trident of the Seas or the Trident of the Swamps versus the Sanguinesti Staff, where the Sanguinesti Staff is able to hit more than the Trident of the Swamp. So it seems like a way for them to release stronger gear, but kind of masking it as being balanced because it's tier 75. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's stupid that the Garazi, the Scythe, the Twisted Bow, I guess the Sanguinesti Staff, like, am I missing anything? Dins? Like, those should be 80. Easy.
The Blowpipe is easily one of the strongest weapons in the game.
Yeah, but where would you put it? Like, what other ranged weapon shares 75 attack with it?
See, that's the problem, where they just it seems to be way too strong for tier 75, even though we don't have, and that's part of the thing, is a lot of these fill a section in the tier 75 gap. The Justichar's armor was the newest melee tank armor. We don't have that for tier 75. No matter how good it is, it can fill that slot for tier 75. Right?
Yeah. I think, like, I don't know. I think it's really silly that there are things that aren't, like, that they're being kept at 75 just so they pass, which is really dumb, because if tier 80 ever comes out, it has to be fucking amazing. Like, what is going to be better than a scythe and a twisted bow that's at 80 of that respected attack and range level? Or
and
like
that's also the problem, is that when they do want to come out with a tier 80 or a tier 78, people might just go, no fucking way. That's way too fast of a power creep.
So, this is the thing that I think most of the community doesn't understand, is that back in the day, getting 70 attack was a big deal.
Yep.
And getting 75 attack was a really big deal as well. Like, getting those 5 levels was like, that was pretty big. You know, it was big.
100%.
But when you can pull over 100k melee experience an hour with free, I guess we'll talk about it after this, but with like 7k prayer experience an hour too, and it's 10 minutes of AFKing, levels are completely irrelevant. Like,
yeah.
People max and they've never PVM'd in their life. They've never PK'd. Like, there's people that just like sit in NMZ, max, and they're like, okay, what do I do now in this game? I'm bored. I quit. Like, the levels isn't the gate of power creeps. It's like the actual item itself now, and the price and how to obtain them. Like, you hide like a twisted bow behind, you know, on average like 1.3k kills at Ulm to get one in your name. You hide the like Grazi and the scythe. I don't know what the drop rates are, but you hide them behind hard content like Theater of Blood. You don't hide it behind like a level. Like, comparing like Bandos and stuff is pretty easy to kill. Getting the levels are super easy to kill. So it's like, alright, 70, you know, pretty low level, not a big deal. Like, I don't know. I think they need to just like literally do an unpolled change where they say, okay, these are going up to 80. Because who's gonna say like, man, I would have had a twisted bow by now, but I'm only 76 at range.
Yeah,
Like,
that's exactly
You're
it.
gonna get 99 range before you get a twisted bow if you got it legitimately. Like, not, like, when I say legitimately, I mean like through honest PVMing and not just like scamming and staking or credit card.
Yeah.
Typically, you'll have way more than 99. Like, you'll have like well into the 9, like, you know, 15, 16 plus mil range experience before you get one. Probably much more than that.
It's also why it's the best gear we have. It's linked to tier 75, but it's called end game gear because it is the best. Yet, if somebody has 75 base stats, they're not doing end game content. Yeah, it doesn't exactly seem fitting, but at the same time, if they release the Twisted Bow as tier 78 or tier 80, the reason I say tier 78 is because people worry about power creeping. So if you go up 5 more levels into the 80s, it's a much more obvious step up in power versus 78.
The issue is that the power creep's already happened. It's not that bump it up. In fact, if you keep it with this mentality, it'll be even worse. Because now people will say, well, why is this better than a blowpipe and a twisted bow? How are you going to make this better than both of those items? What's going to make me want to choose this over either of those items in a general situation? Because typically, you're using a blowpipe at 75 range to kill everything.
Yep.
If you have 1.2 bills to spend, and you're killing something with a high magic level, you're going to use a twisted bow. And then if you're like, or like having like, you know, you need the distance or the offhand or whatever, you're going to bring like an AC B. But
Armless crossbow.
Yeah. So what are you gonna, like, what item could they make that is not only better than all of those, but also at 80? And you're like, fuck. And then what about 85? And then 90? Then like what, like 93? I mean, like, you know, it'll probably like I would rather have 10 items at 99 that are just like niche things. I'd rather have like a Grazi and a Scythe be at 99 attack and all that stuff than have them at like 75, because like it's, you could have items better than another item at the same tier. That's totally fine. But the issue is like when you have to go up.
Yeah.
Like, let me say it like this. Power creep would come in a lot more slowly if everything was at 99. So like if you compare, okay, good example, I think. You look at full black armor, you know? And then you add 10 levels of that, look at Mithril. It's so much better than black. Then you add 10 more levels Addy, and then Rune, like way better than that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But now look at Bronze and Iron. They're both level 1, one's just slightly better than the other.
Yeah.
Like, it's just apply that mentality, but to 99, I guess.
Because at this rate, what we're going to be seeing is what we had seen in the past that happened to the Serpentine helmet, where the Serpentine helmet used to be way better than what it is now. But they had to nerf it because it was just way too strong at its level that they said, if we ever want to bring out another helmet, it's just not possible. Not possible with this Serpentine helmet being as good as it is. It had like really good defense stats. It had really good, had tied for the, or maybe it was even better in strength bonus than the Helm of Nietz. It's not. It also had effects where it would venom other people that damaged you. Venomed or poisoned. So they had to nerf it hard, and now you barely see it. You see it when you need to tank something.
Or you just don't want to get venomed.
Or you don't want to get poisoned, and you don't want to
I only ever use it for Zulrah.
Yeah, okay.
Which isn't optimal, but I'm too fucking lazy to bring an anti-venom. I'm too lazy. I'm not going to do it.
So there it is, yeah. And now it brings the Helm of Nietz, it's not, is back to being like the go-to helmet.
Yeah. So, okay, here's my thing. We have, Xerix was a cave, like, you know, you got some swampy boys in there, right? You got some crocodiles, you got some lizards.
Crocodiles don't live in caves, do they?
Well, like, it's swampy.
Okay.
A little swampy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Swampy.
A couple of swampy boys up in that cave. And then we have Theater of Blood, which is, you know, edgy vampires.
Yep.
Then, like, what's next? Like, demon shit, right? Lesser demons, grayer demons, black demons. I would assume maybe some demonic stuff.
I think we're pushing for a desert.
Maybe a desert, but so I only bring this up because you mentioned it in the past how RuneScape takes a lot of it's just like straight ripoffs like RS3 stuff.
Yeah, probably like an hour ago I think I mentioned it.
Yeah, so yeah, referring to like today. And if we're gonna like go up a tier, like let's just use range as an example. Like you're not gonna come with another bow because we have Kraw's bow, but like you're not gonna come up with another bow because like if you're gonna have to two-hand something, you're gonna probably use a blowpipe or the twisted bow. You know, like you have like a super magic bow that attacks like no, it doesn't make sense. Not gonna have like another blowpipe because that's weird. So, like, you're going to make a crossbow. You're going to make a new crossbow, right?
Yeah, that seems fitting. Or, yeah, something else maybe even. Hand cannon.
Yeah, I don't know. Some pistols. Give me an op. You know, give me that Asimov op. Give me some CSGO skins.
Some scouts. Scouts and knives.
If we're going to copy RS3, tier 80 is the chaotic crossbow. Which you get through Dungeoneer. Same with the rapier, but we already have the Grazi rapier.
Yep.
So I'm assuming with the next big PvM update, they're gonna have like, it's gonna be demons, and you're gonna have the demonic crossbow, which does more damage to demons, and it makes them dead fast. I don't know, but like they're going to have like they're really pigeonholing themselves into certain items. Where like I'm pretty confident if they come up with a tier 80 range weapon, it's a crossbow. Because they can't really do anything at this point. Like, they're done. Because if they do a blowpipe or another bow, like, those have to be fucking amazing. But they can add, like, they added the Dragon Hunter crossbow. Which, like, you know, it filled the niche, which is good. It's a good item. But, like, if they want, like, an upgrade from ACB, it's gotta be, like, the Chaotic crossbow. And it's gotta be fucking good. It's gotta have, like as much range as, like, a ballista. You know, and it's gotta... have a really cool spec where it lights them on fire. I don't know. But it just worries me that they're like, this is like the one issue with like community voting on updates is that they're making bad decisions because we're all so stupid.
Well, that's the thing. We don't develop a game, and a lot of us, we vote selfishly. And Jagex, it prevents Jagex from looking at the long-term effects of these things, and they have to look at the short-term. How do we get these items into the game now? Not in a year from now, what can we bring to the table that's going to be a step up from this? So then you have all these niches getting filled. People love that. I like it.
Yeah, I think like Elder Maul, those items are really neat. I understand having same tier weapons like if they fill different niches, but
it's also a problem at the same time because you're going to have a bazillion different weapons that only fill one area of the game. They have one specific use, and if that use ever becomes dead content, then, like, you know, what now? Do we have to keep bringing out good dragons that drop well because the Dragon Hunter crossbow needs to always be able to kill the next...
for them?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Has to be able to kill endgame monsters.
Yeah.
Is every raid going to have a undead dragon in it, and then you're going to have a demon in it, so that these arc lights and the Dragon Hunter crossbow just don't become useless items? I don't know. It's tricky, but...
Yeah, I still think the community... Okay, like, I don't know. The average person, like, if you, like... I don't know, the average person, like, doesn't really care too much. It's just, like, Reddit really does care. And the thing is that...
Reddit has the most, like, dedicated players because you're going to a third-party website to discuss the game you play.
Yeah, and that's where they take all their opinions from. But you can see the community flip-flop on things all the time. So with this post, like, I've never really had that much of an opinion on, like, the tiers. I've always been like, yeah, I mean, it's a little silly, right? Like, having everything at 75, but I never really cared. But then after you bring it up, it's like, nah, it's a pretty big problem. And then, like, once, if they do make some changes and people are like, oh, this is kind of good. All right, well, let's rework the whole tier. Like, people, like, will go to the complete extremes and, like, you know what I mean? They want to change everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Jagex is like, we'll just play it safe. We're going to just put everything at tier 75. They've talked about putting things at tier 78. Like, we were going to put the Sanguinets at 78, but we didn't want to do that. It's like...
Well, because people were pissed. People see 78 and they go, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't want no power creep coming into this game.
But they don't realize that... They don't realize it has a +1 max on the Trident. They don't realize it has a Guthin's effect attached to it. Like, that's the like, actual definition of power creep. Where, like, the downside is that it costs more to use. Okay. But it's still way better. It's like, you know, come on.
Yeah, exactly. And people get kind of... They get, like, blindsided because, oh, it's tier 75. All right, that's not power creep. But at the same time, you can't not have power creep. You need to have it. It just needs to be put in at a healthy rate.
And at this point, I think it's like, people act like it hasn't been put in the game, but it very clearly has. Like, obviously, like, there's just better items. And, like, the only thing is that people just, they don't, like, realize it, maybe? I don't know. Like, they don't know as much of, like oh, well, like, maybe they assume if it's at, like, if they were to make a blowpipe or, like, the twisted bow at level, like, tier 80, like, I'm saying all of this implying they don't touch the stats at all.
Yeah.
If they were to, like, oh, it's tier 80, let's raise the stats, of course I'm gonna be like, that is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. You put the blowpipe at 60 and make it really shitty. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna do that, just, like, if you're gonna buff a nerf depending on the level, like, that's a really bad way to balance, like, solely on the level. You know what I mean?
It's a tough one, but as everything else, we'll have to wait and see what happens, right?
Yeah. Well, they have dedicated teams, so maybe they have one dedicated to, they have one dedicated to listening to the community and doing quality of life. So I want to see what will come of that specifically.
But anyways, that is basically everything that's been going on this week, which means time to bring up some of that good old-fashioned lore. This week for lore, we will be talking about the Dagannoth Kings and the Dagannoths in general. We refer to the kings as Dagannoth Supreme, Prime, and Rex. Dagannoths seem to live near and around the Northern Ocean. Dagannoths seem to act similar to the Calphites. There is a Queen Dagannoth, and when she dies, a new one replaces her. The Dagannoth Kings are somewhat of a mystery, but their purpose seems to be to protect the Queen. They were first discovered during the Third Age, when they began attacking Relica. Luckily, the Fremeniks were able to repel their attacks and drive them into surrounding caves. They were referred to as sea monsters for a long time, until the Fremeniks began calling them Daggermouths, which later would evolve into Dagannoths. It is believed that Fremenik soldiers who were killed by the Dagannoth Kings had their equipment taken from them and brought back to the nest, where the kings would keep their gear as treasure. And at this moment, this is all the information we currently know about the Dagannoths. Before we get on out of here, we had a suggestion sent in this week on our Discord from the user, That's Johnny. And he says, so I was just thinking it would be cool if you guys had a Q&A segment added to the podcast where fans can ask you guys questions. Just a thought. Which got me thinking, we do have episode 100 or 99 if we want to go with that one. But we do have that episode coming up pretty soon. That's a pretty big milestone to hit. So maybe we'll have a little special going on for that episode. We'll have to discuss it more this week though, but next week we'll probably come up with more details. But I don't know if you guys have any questions you want to ask us about whatever. It doesn't have to be like RuneScape related either. Maybe send them in, but next week we'll come out with more details on that and maybe figure out what we want to do for our episode 100 or 99. But anyways, that being said, if you do have any questions or anything you want to talk about, or you want to let us know your thoughts on some of the stuff that's going on in RuneScape, you can do that by reaching us on Twitter at TheWildernessRS. Our Facebook is facebook.com/TheWildernessPodcast. Our email is TheWildernessPodcast@gmail.com. And we have a clan chat in-game, which is WildCC, so you can come on and hang out and do some bossing, learn some bossing, or just shoot the shit and do whatever. Or PKing, whatever it is. And we also have a Discord if you want to join that. A link is posted on both Twitter and Facebook. If you click it, it will bring you right to the server. But besides that, I think that's everything for this. What do you have to drop on us?
Twitch, Twitter, DNRS. I was sloppy. Twitch and Twitter, DNRS.
Getting faster and faster with that every time. So our song of the week, going back to our suggestion from last week, was from the Dolphin on Discord again. And he said, I'm just going to say the comment again, because why not? Jolly R. Used to jam out to that when I was skilling board back in the day. And luckily, the wiki has a brief musical analysis for this one. Very brief, though. Jolly R. This track has a tempo of 160 and is in the key of D minor. I feel like whoever's making these probably overcommitted on some of them and felt like a sentence was good enough for this one.
Yeah.
Anyways, this song is unlocked on the North Dock of Brimhaven, and it is composed by none other than Ian Tyler. And that's it for episode 95.
Damn, that sounds so weird.
What's that?
Sounds so weird. We're getting up there.
95. We're going to be in triple digits soon.
Yeah, I know.
Unreal. It's funny because when I listen to a podcast, and even with our show itself, I always find pre-episode 100, it's like in its infancy still.
Yeah.
And then at 100, it's like cemented. It's all right, though. We're getting there. Thanks so much for listening. Next week, 96. I think I already said that.
Yeah, have a good one.
Take care, everybody.